The Washington Wizards are interested in Isaac Okoro, but where does he fit? Plus, if Jordan Poole has a down year, should we try to move on from his contract? And Kyle Kuzma arguing with people on Twitter. We're going to talk about that and more next on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What's good, everybody? I hope everybody had a blessed and safe weekend. I know I did. And I appreciate you guys making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And download Gametime today. What time is it? Game time. I'm trying to tell y'all. So, a lot to talk about tonight, guys. Like I said, we're going to talk about Isaac Okoro. Washington Wizards do have interest in Isaac Okoro. So, where exactly does he fit? We got a lot of vets on the roster, and we have young guys, and try to find that balance, man. Also, Jordan Poole, there was a mock trade put out there by Sports Illustrated. So they're kind of going off of a potential Jordan Poole trade getting off on his contract. If he has a disappointing season next year, is it time to get off his contract? So we're going to look at the mock trade and give you my analysis. And Kyle Kuzma, man, spent the weekend going back and forth with Wizards fans on some political stuff. We're not going to talk politics on this platform, but we're going to kind of look at it from a sports perspective. So, all right, let's get into it. This article is through SI.com. This is through the Cleveland Cavaliers SI site. And it says that the Detroit Pistons, the Washington Wizards, and the San Antonio Spurs and the Los Angeles Clippers all have interest in acquiring Cleveland Cavaliers Isaac Okoro. So let's kind of dig into it real quick, and let's talk about Isaac Okoro. Before we kind of get into my analysis, let's look at the stats real quick. He is getting into his contract here. So not bad. He has gotten better every year. Now, he is a 3-and-D wing. Now, at 6'5", he can play the two guard, but he can also play the wing. But if you look at this games played, he 67 games played, 67 games started in his rookie season, which was the 2020 and 2021 season. Next year, he played 67, started 61. 2022 to 2023, played in 76, but started in 46. And his previous season, he did start 42 out of 69 games played. Now, we said 3-and-D, right? Now, looking at his three-point percentage, his rookie year was 29%, but he got better every year. It went from 29 to 35 to 36 to 39. So he fits the mold of a 3-and-D wing, okay? Now, looking at his field goal percentage real quick, it went from 42% rookie year to 48 to 49, and then 49 again this previous season. And then if you look at some defensive statistics real quick, his rookie year, he did almost average a steal per game. So he's up and around 0.8. Worst year statistically wise, as far as steals, was the 2022 to 2023 season, where it was 0.7. So he's very active with the defensive end. He definitely fits the mold as a 3-and-D guy. Looking at the points per game, rookie year was 9.6 points, and it kind of fluctuates. It went from 9.6 to 8.8 to 6.4 and 9.4. A lot of it had to do with additions to the Cavaliers, obviously, Donovan Mitchell. He's a guy who doesn't have to be featured in the offense too much. You know, he definitely is a defensive guy who can definitely stretch the floor. His playmaking does have a lot to be imagined. I mean, his best year was his rookie year and his previous season, where he has 1.9 assists. So he's not a guy who's going to really look to distribute, get other people involved. These guys are going to have to be fed. He's a guy who's looking to, again, stretch the floor, mid-range and three-point shot, and defensively. So what I want Isaac Okoro, and this is a hard question, man. It's really hard to analyze this because on the first thing you want to say, yeah. I mean, the kid is young, man. I mean, he's going to his his fifth season in the NBA, and he is 23 years old. I mean, so he's the same age as Denny was before Denny was traded. So, I mean, at first glance, yeah, you want to trade for a 23-year-old who is a 3-and-D wing. You know what I'm saying? Because that was the big synopsis and the big question mark with the Denny Avdia trade, which is, he fit the mold of the 3-and-D wing, and he was young. So, why was he part of the timeline? And you look at Isaac Okoro. I mean, for a team that's rebuilding, you want to say yes. You go out there and you make a move for an Isaac Okoro. But the big question there was in my mind on everybody else's mind is, where exactly do you put him? I mean, you look at this roster right now. We have a lot of vets who, A, are probably going to be gone this year, if not before the deadline or at the deadline, or B, they could be here for at least for 3 years. If you look at the contracts of Saddiq Bey, 3 years, Jordan Poole, 3 years, Kyle Kuzma, 3 years, Jonas Valanciunas, 3 years. So 3 years seems to be the mark where they want a lot of these, if not all, the veteran contracts to be off the books, so they can start paying these young guys. Bilal's up for an extension after 3 years. Alex R, Bob Carrington, the list goes on. After that, hopefully Cooper Flagg. We'll see. So they're definitely trying to get some assets back for a lot of these vets. Look at Isaac Okoro. Do you really consider him a vet? To a certain, yeah. I mean, he's going to year 5. But he's very young, 23 years old. So you guys let me know, man. I'm kind of split on this because I don't know where you fit him. Because if you look at the roster construction right now, I mean, he can play the 2 guard. He's kind of like Corey Kispert. He can play the 2 guard. He can play the wing. But then, if you exclusively look at the 2 guard position and the wing position, small forward, you got Corey Kispert. You got Bilal Coulibaly. You got Kyle Kuzma, who is slated to be the starting small forward. Now, he could play power forward, but we got Alex R. So depending on what direction they go with Alex R, I'm assuming they start him. But if he goes to the bench, you could see Kyle Kuzma goes to 4 and another guy coming in 3. But still, you got Saddiq Bey. Yes, he's out for the year, but you have to kind of, put him into the equation to a certain degree, because after this season, he's going to be in the mix. So if you add Isaac Okoro to a team where you already got Corey Kispert, where you already have Bilal Coulibaly, you got Kyle Kuzma, you got Saddiq Bey. Yes, he's out for the year, but again, you have to still look at him as a future piece. Where does he fit? Because here's the thing, a lot of these vets are here for mentorship. Yes, and I agree with that. I like it. I'm down with the cause. But here's the thing, you have to get to a point where the youth movement has to start at some point in DC. And I'm starting to think that, maybe it starts in 3 years, because that's when a lot of these veteran contracts, presumably come off the books if they're not moved before that point. And if you look at a lot of these vets, man, they're all in different timelines as far as when you can realistically see them being traded. If you look at Kyle Kuzma, he very well could be gone by the deadline, but his contract's very team friendly. The organization does like him. He's got roots in the DMV. He could be a guy that could be here for the next 3 years. Now, after that, I don't see him being here. But he's a guy that very well could be here long term. And when I say long term, 3 years. Jordan Poole, same thing. He's very young, hasn't hit his prime yet. But then, if he has a breakout campaign like I think he's going to have, he very well could be a trade piece. Now, like I said, we're going to look at a worst case scenario trade for Jordan Poole. But I mean, you look at Jonas Valanciunas, you look at Malcolm Brogdon. These are guys are definitely going to be gone by the deadline. So, a lot of these vets are on different timelines as far as when they'll be at their peak, as far as when they will get traded, man. When their value is going to be at zenith. So Isaac Okoro, it's hard, man. You know what I mean? It's really hard to say yes or no to this move, because at 23 years old, you best believe with a rebuilding team like the Washington Wizards, you want a 23-year-old who's proven that he can defend and shoot from 3-point. But long term, where does he fit in? Because if you look at the fact that he's going to year 5. I'm gonna check out the contract situation for Isaac Okoro, because Corey Kispert is on, he's up for an extension. So what is his future in DC? So here we go, guys. Real quick, let's take a look at Isaac Okoro's contract real quick, because he would have to be traded for, obviously. So let's take a look at his contract. So he is under a team option for this year. So we would have to trade for him, and I would expect that you would want an extension already laid out before he comes here, because he would be on team option. So the Cavaliers could realistically exercise his option and move him. I don't think there's many restrictions on guys that you exercise options. They can be traded right away. I think that free agent signees and trades, there is a certain period before you can trade them, not with when you exercise somebody's option. So, but presumably you would have to extend him. So, where does Corey Kispert fit in? You guys see what I'm saying? Like, you kind of, that kind of X's out Corey Kispert. Now, Bilal, I'm looking at him. He's definitely the long-term option in small forward. Like I said, he is definitely the long-term option. You look at other guys on the roster. 2 guard, Bob Carrington, is he a 2? He looked like he very well could be a 2 guard in the future. Now, he could also be a point guard in the future. He's a combo guard who has a very high upside. So we'll see what the permanent vision is for Bob Carrington going forward, man. But the 2 guard position, is a big question mark right now, especially going into training camp, especially going into the preseason. and the beginning of the regular season is that you're going to see a lot of lineups in the preseason. A lot of lineups, man. Head coach Brian Keefe is definitely going to try as many lineups as he can to see what is the best one, what is the best defensive one, and what is the best one for scoring. So he's definitely going to do his due diligence. But I mean, Isaac Okoro, you guys let me know down below. You got let me know in the comment section. Would you guys entertain a trade for Isaac Okoro? Because this is a hard one for me. Because at age 23, he's a young guy who's proven he can play. He's a young guy who's proven he can play. He shoot from three. He can defend. Doesn't need the ball in his hands all the time. He's obviously he has to be fed and set up offensively. But I mean, he's not a guy where if you look at usage rate, he's going to have a high usage rate on the offense. So, I mean, a part of me says yes. You go after you make that move, but then there's going to be casualties. Corey Kisper's probably going to be that casualty. He may be that guy they ask in return. Now, I've looked at a few trades real quick, and both of them in a potential move for Isaac Okoro. You look at two guys. Corey Kisper's one, and the other guy is Marvin Bagley III. Now, that does add a little intrigue. Now, Marvin Bagley III, if you look what's going on with the center position, we got Jonas, we got Tristan Vucevic, we have Rashawn Holmes, and we have Alex Sarr, who, slated to play the power forward, but can play the center position. So Marvin Bagley III is in a contract year. So moving on from, Marvin Bagley III would not be a bad idea because he's in the contract year, an inspiring contract, and right now it looks like he's not a long-term piece. So, but again, my biggest thing, guys, and again, you guys let me know what you're thinking, and I'm going to put a poll out after the episode, but would you guys entertain a trade for Isaac Okoro? Because my biggest problem is, where does he fit? If you make a move for Isaac Okoro, then you're pretty much saying that Corey Kispert is not part of the future. And so you'd probably be a candidate to send to Cleveland or a future deal, in my opinion. And even in the beginning of the season, if you have Isaac Okoro and Corey Kispert, it's creating a logjam at the two guard and the wing. And so I think it's a hard decision, but I'm going to have to say no. Because right now I don't understand the fit long-term or even in the immediate. There's going to be a logjam. And yes, he's 23. Yes, he can shoot the three. Yes, he can defend. Yes, he's young. He definitely fits the timeline, in my opinion, even though the timeline fluctuates for some reason. I have to say no. And it's I don't really want to say no because, again, he's a nice young player. But there's hard decisions that need to be made before you entertain any future move for Isaac Okoro because Corey Kispert is still in the mix. They have to re-sign him to an extension. If not, he very well could be traded. I do like Corey Kispert. I think that I would love to see him in a Wizards uniform. We all need a shooter. But, look at Isaac Okoro. He does something that Corey Kispert doesn't do, which is defend at a high level. So you guys let me know. I'm going to say no right now, but it could be a yes if, certain moves are made. Corey Kispert, unfortunately, could be the guy on the chopping block in a potential move for Isaac Okoro. So, all right, guys, we're going to move on. Jordan Poole, if he has a disappointing season, would it be time to try to get off his contract? So we're looking at mock trade that was put out there, and I'm gonna give you guys my kind of my feedback to that move. And Kyle Kuzma, was he right or wrong for going back and forth with people on Twitter? We're gonna talk about it. But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by Gametime. So, as you guys know, your boy loves going to games, man. Right now it's towards the end of baseball season, so I've been to plenty of O's in that game. My last ones were the 31st of this month. And then we're going to get into football season, man. Looking forward to the Commanders, man. Going to Ravens game and going to hit up some college football. But Gametime to me is a go-to. And there's a lot of reasons why. Really, there's three main reasons why. Because I've tried every ticket app. And again, Gametime is the one that takes the cake, man. And there's three main reasons again. Number one, priority. Gametime picks. Creation makes it easier to save more on sports. But not only sports events, right? Concerts, comedy shows, theater events, etc. All in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total upfront with no surprise fees to check out, which is key because when you pay for your tickets, you don't really want to deal with the fees that come along with it. They can turn a $50 ticket into a $100 ticket, right? And then the third thing, the lowest price guarantee, or Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Those are three good reasons why you should definitely consider Gametime. When you're trying to buy not only your next sporting event, but tickets to comedy shows and concerts. I'm trying to tell y'all, listen to your boy, man. All right, so look. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Gametime today. What time is it? Gametime, baby. Thank you for making the Locked On Wizards your first listen of the day. For your second listen enjoy the Locked On NBA podcast. There is no offseason in the NBA, let me tell y'all. And Locked On NBA provides daily basketball analysis from national and local experts in 30 minutes or less. No one keeps you as informed and entertained as Locked On NBA. Available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, everybody, let's get back into it. And your boy is sweating, and I got that daggone AC on right next to me, man. And for some reason, my forehead sweats, man. So bear with your man. All right, so Jordan Poole, there's a mock trade that was put out there concerning Jordan Poole. And I kind of interpret this trade as this, man. If he struggles like he did his previous season, would it be time to entertain a potential trade for Jordan Poole to get off his contract? So let's dig into it. Do I expect Jordan Poole to struggle? Nah, I don't. I think that he's going to come into the season with a chip on the shoulder, right? I think he's definitely has something to prove, not only to the Washington Wizards, not only to the Washington Wizards fan base, but to the NBA. He got a lot of smoke this season, this previous season, when he struggled in the first half. Now, when he got reverted to six-man role by head coach Brian Keefe, he responded. He played good basketball. And then when he took over the starting role from Tyus Jones, when Tyus Jones had the back injury, then he played very, very good basketball at a high level. And he kind of showed that, he can handle the point guard position long term. Now, with the drafting of Bub Carrington, right now, we don't know. Now, we're going to get a clearer picture, especially when we get to media day. So definitely looking forward to talking not only to the players, Coach Brian Keefe, but also to Michael Winger and Will Dawkins to kind of see where their head's at with the point guard position. But Jordan Poole's the man right now, in my opinion. I think he definitely is in consideration to be the starting point guard. And the reason, and he should be, because his offense was a lot faster in the second half when he was starting point. So I definitely think you need to consider starting him at point guard. But here's the thing, he struggled last year, and he made up for it in the second half. And to me, yeah, it kind of canceled each other out. But if he struggles this upcoming season, is it time to think about getting off his contract? So that is a question for everybody tonight. Let's take a look at the mock trade real quick. And this is through Wiz of Oz. Shout out to Wiz of Oz, man. A lot of good columns and articles, man. So definitely recommend checking out Wiz of Oz and Bullets of Forever, man. Both good sites, man, that have a lot of good knowledge when it comes to the Washington Wizards. So this is grade to trade through Wiz of Oz. Wizards move on from Jordan Poole and surprise mock deal. So this is right. The Washington Wizards would not be in contention this season, but are over the salary cap and just $9.8 million under the luxury tax. Woo! Part of the blame lies with Jordan Poole. He is the highest paid player, despite being one of the worst in the NBA by advanced metrics last season. With 3 years left on his deal, and his deal really determines the team's future, would it be time to move on from Jordan Poole if he struggles this season coming up? And like I said, I fully expect him to have a career season. But saying that, we have to be honest with the situation. If he struggles, if he starts out slow, or even if he has an abysmal season next year, you have to consider getting off his contract. Now, let me pull up the trade again. I kind of click off my bad. But you definitely have to consider that. Because if he struggles, you got to get off that contract because that money's going to hold you down. Now, is it a necessity to get off of it? No. It's 3 years. Maybe you see if you could fix him over time and let it run out. because in 3 years, most of the veteran contracts are off the books. So it's not a necessity that you move off of the contract, but it kind of behooves you. If this team gets better quicker, you want the money. You want the kind of the stabilization of having money there. So when it comes to making that move to make us a contending team, you can make that move. And you don't want money holding you down. Now, I don't expect us to be a contending team in 3 years. So I think we're good on that front. So looking at a potential deal real quick. This deal has us moving Jordan Poole to the LA Clippers. We would receive Norman Powell and PJ Tucker. Now, looking at those two guys, I believe that PJ Tucker would be a expiring contract. Now, looking at Norman Powell, he would have some money. Now, let's pull up the contract situation for the LA Clippers real quick, guys, to give you an accurate picture of what we're looking at as far as just salary cap. Because I know that, bear with me, guys. I know that I'm pulling the name up right now. PJ Tucker will be an expiring contract, and Norman Powell will be under contract So let's put up their salary cap and roster, man, because it's not a bad deal if you want to move on from Jordan Poole. It's not a bad deal because, again, PJ Tucker could be kind of that mentor guy. And Norman Powell is a former six-man of the year guy. I get it. We got Malcolm Brogdon. So how many six-man of the year guys do you need? But, the Wizards will owe $95.5 million over 3 seasons. When you look at the fact that Powell and Tucker are 51.2, you bring that money down. And again, Tucker will be in the final year of his contract, and he probably will be bought out automatically. So the one player you're probably looking at would be Norman Powell as far as the guy holding you down when it comes to money. So I'm pulling up right now. So Norman Powell has 2 years left on his contract. This season he is making 19.2, and next year 20.4. So you would bring the money down and shorten the contract. So it's not a bad deal. But the biggest thing is you try to make this move if Jordan Poole struggles, because I think he's going to have a contract, a career season. I think he's going to come out with a chip on his shoulder. I think he's going to have a really good year. And I think he's going to solidify the point guard position for the future, in my opinion. Now, if he struggles, I'm going to be the first person to say he struggles, man. I do like Jordan Poole. I like him as a player. The few times I did talk to him, I kind of like him as a dude. I think he's a really nice man. Really down-to-earth brother, man. But, I look at a player that has fringe all-star potential. I look at a guy who hasn't hit his potential yet. He's proven that he can play in this league. He can be that scorer in this league. Now, there's other aspects of his game that obviously he needs to add or, better to be a better player, especially if he wants to be a starting point guard. Definitely assist numbers need to go up, and he need to find, defense has to get better, in my opinion. But he's a guy that I don't think we're going to have to move him now. But that's the question, though, right? If he struggles, do you make the move? Yeah. If he struggles to the point where, you're looking at a scenario where you might have to add a first round pick to move him, then this is not a bad trade. Not a bad trade at all. But Jordan Poole is a guy that, is not a necessity to have to move him at this point because we're in a rebuild and he's a high upside player, in my opinion. Now, he did struggle. He had his Shaq to the Fool moments, and, he caught smoke for that. But like I said, you make a move to move on from him if he struggles mightily. And when it gets to the point where it's like, man, there's nothing we can do for him. We got to move on from this contract. So you definitely make that move. But I think that you have to hit rock bottom before you consider moving him, in my opinion. Now, with him being a young player, with the timeline changing, there could be a scenario where they try to move him when his value goes up, which with a career season, you very well could see his value go up and he could become a tradable commodity. But then again, it goes back to the point where you're trying to build for the future, and you got a guy on the contract who's proven he can play, who's still very young, still fits, some kind of timeline, and hasn't hit his prime yet. He's proven he can play. So you guys, again, hit the comment section. Let me know what you guys are thinking because, like I said, a lot of intangibles with this, man. Looking at Jordan Poole, if he struggles mightily, if he hits rock bottom this season coming up, you try to move on from his contract. But if not, he's a guy who, in my opinion, is a future piece for the Washington Wizards. So you guys definitely comment below and let me know what you're thinking, guys. So we're going to get into Kyle Kuzma. He went back and forth with Wizards fans this weekend over politics. We're not going to get into politics on this channel, but we're going to talk about was he right or wrong, and does this help his standing with Wizards fans going forward? But before we do, tonight's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Now, look, NFL, let's see, you've heard us talk a lot about FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Well, we have something a little different for you today. Now, through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with YouTube TV-based plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon game, or out-of-market game, that is. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel any time. Just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to download America's #1 sportsbook, FanDuel. All right, everybody, let's get back into it. So I wanted to talk about this real quick because a lot of people hit me up on X, aka Twitter, and here on YouTube, and wanted me to cover this real quick. And like I said, I didn't want to get too deep into it because this channel is just not the place for politics, man. And I'm so bad for talking politics, but this is not the place for that. Obviously, this is really just tough time in America right now. It's an election year. A lot of back and forth, a lot of just craziness, man. Kyle Kuzma, he within the last, I would say, couple months, has put comments out there has thrown criticism on current Vice President Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party. And then he kind of went back and forth with Wizards fans who a few of them kind of brought up the fact that in his past he brought up kind of disparaging comments about then President Donald J. Trump. So, like I said, I'm not going to get to the political side of this, but I'll say this. Is he within his rights to talk politics? Yes, we all are. That's all part of being an American. For you listeners or watchers who are from other countries, especially countries in the Western Hemisphere, to a certain degree, you know the democratic process. You know how election years can be very, very strenuous, man. Yeah. But with it being the United States, is with the presidency in the United States carrying so much weight, this is a very important election. Now, that's pretty much the last. And I ain't really getting into politics, but I'm just gonna stop there. Looking at Kyle Kuzma and him talking about politics, he's within his rights to talk politics. And when people look at athletes or actors or actresses or people that are in the entertainment industry, a lot of people often say, we don't care what you think, shut up and dribble, shut up and act. I think that everybody has the right to talk about their perspective to a certain degree. Free speech is free till it's not, right? But I'll say this. Within the realms of the Wizards, the NBA, and that's kind of what we're holding on to here on Locked On Wizards, it doesn't help his standing with the fan base. You got your perspective, Kuz, and like I said, Kuz, you're my guy, big fan. Love your game. Think you're a dope dude, man. But let me say this: sometimes you just gotta keep it to yourself, and that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just gotta keep it to yourself. Right now, you look to be that a central figure going forward in Washington. Both you and Jordan Poole have made it known that you want to be part of this process, which not a lot of veteran guys want to be part of a rebuild, especially a long rebuild, which the Wizards are going through a long rebuild. But sometimes you just got to keep it to yourself, man, because going back and forth with fans does not help your standing with the fan base. And sometimes when you have situations where you go back and forth with fans and a lot of them turn against you, when you struggle, the boo birds come out. And like I said, definitely show your support, guys, to the Washington Wizards, every player on this roster. Like I said, don't judge this guy up how he leans politically, even though politics is a hot topic now, man. But like I said, we not only Locked On Wizards, but the Locked On Podcast Network, man. We just don't, politics have no place in sports, in our opinion. But looking at Kyle Kuzma and him going back and forth with Wizards fans, sometimes, man, you just need to keep it to yourself. I mean, it's a hot topic, and people have serious feelings about politics right now. Some people are moderate, or some people are cool. They can have a conversation. Some people to the point where they're violent. You have to keep opinions to yourself when it comes to you being a central figure as far as being a basketball player. And I'm not saying shut up and dribble. It's not what I'm advocating. I think that everybody, regardless what you do for a living, your social standing or and other factors, your sex, whatever, you have the right to think whatever you want to think and vote for whoever you want. But within the realms of sports, man, there's consequence. Every action has a consequence, man, in life. And, going back and forth with Wizards fans is not the best look. So that's kind of my message to the man Kuz real quick. If you're watching Kuz, man, like I said, much love, man. But, and I agree with your right to be conscious within the political landscape. I think it's cool. Everybody's got an opinion. And I think that you have an opinion and you exercising your right is a good thing. But like I said, when you fall into a category of being a celebrity or a basketball player or, an actor, actress, other jobs, man, sometimes it behooves you just to keep your opinions to yourself because, right now is a hot time in politics, man, even in sports right now. You look at the atmosphere in sports where, can we exactly have dialogue in sports anymore? And sometimes yes, sometimes no. So right now, an election year is always crazy, but right now, I think that it kind of behooves Kyle Kuzma to just keep his opinion to himself and really refrain from going back and forth with fans, man, because it can come back to bite you. And I don't want to see, I don't want to see these guys get booed. This team's already going to be bad, man. This team's already going to be a bad team. I don't want something like this, put extra, weight on the shoulders, not only Kuz, but the team, because people are going to take politics too personal, man, to go out there and boo or try to throw, some shade on the organization, man. Sometimes, like I said, it's a slippery slope, man. But sometimes, just keep you are entitled to your opinion. Sometimes keep it yourself, and that goes for athletes, period, man. Like I said, I would say the same thing about LeBron James or any other athlete who advocates political affiliation, man. Sometimes just keep it yourself, because you have a fan base. The NBA is not just one side. It's people from different religions, different sects, different political affiliations, and we all come together to be fans, man. So we have to find ways to come together as a fan base, and politics divides, man. And when you look at the Washington Wizards, it's essential that us as a fan base, we find some unity, because when we are good again, we're all going to we have to all come together, but we have to support this team because they're not going to be very good. They're going to be a laughingstock of the NBA, not only the NBA, but every sports outlet. We are rated to be the third worst team in the NBA. We are rated to win 17 games. The ESPN, Sporting News, Sports Illustrated, every outlet is going to paint us as a hard to watch team, a trash team, a bad team. We have enough issues, man. We have a lot of weight. We have to develop this young talent. We have to bring fans back, kind of like the Commanders, man. We had to bring fans back. DC is a city where it's a melting pot, where a lot of people come from out of town, who work for the government, work for Fortune 500 companies. List goes on. It's a melting pot. So very often in a market like DC, where people pay in a small market, no, it's a major market. But the big thing about DC is that, with this being a melting pot, having home field advantage is hard, especially if you're Commanders, especially if you're the Wizards, man. Now, baseball, the Nationals do have a really good following, and usually when they're good, they're packed. But, looking at the Commanders and the Wizards, it's a melting pot. So we have to find ways to unite, man. Do not let politics drive people away in this fan base. Like I said, I'm looking at it, everything within the realms of sports, right? I'm not going to get into politics. This is not the platform for that. So I'm not going to go there, man. But I'll say this. We need to come together as a fan base, because it's a long road ahead. And we all have to be ready to go down this road together, man. I'm trying to tell you, because it's going to be a long rebuild. It's going to be exciting. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of good basketball on the way. So that's my message. I know a lot of people wanted me to cover Kyle Kuzma kind of going back and forth. I'm not going to get to what was said, right or wrong. There is no right or wrong, in my opinion. We all have an opinion. There is no right or wrong, But we're within the realms of sports. Something like politics can divide a fan base, man. And I think right now it is, we often talk about chemistry being a big thing for this team early on in the rebuild. It goes for the fan base too. We have to come together, man. When everything is trying to tear us apart, we have to come together as a fan base. We have to come together as a fan base. If you look at, rebuild as opposed to building on build, there was a divide there. So we have to come together because, and really root for the direction of this team, because we have a really good, competent front office. Brian Keefe is a really good coach, and Ted Leonsis is finally letting the basketball people do their thing, man. So there's a lot of good reasons to put your seatbelt on and enjoy the ride for the Washington Wizards for the next 3 years, man, because we're going to be bad, man. Don't get it twisted. We're going to be bad, but, look, I think we need to find some unity, man. So, that's kind of what I had to say. So you guys comment below. Let me know what you're thinking. Like I said, I don't get too much in the politics, because this is not a political channel. This is a sports channel. But it has to do with Kyle Kuzma and X, aka Twitter. And I kind of want to give you guys my spin on it. So that's it, guys. We covered a lot tonight. Isaac Okoro, would you guys make a move for him? Jordan Poole, if he struggles next year, when do you look to make a move to get off the contract? And Kyle Kuzma, sometimes you just got to keep it to yourself. So you guys get in the comment section, man. Let me know what you guys are thinking, man. And again, I appreciate you guys, man. I will see you guys next time. And this week, man, because we're getting closer to September. Like I said, September 16th is when we officially go back to releasing videos every single day. Right now, we're still 3 days a week, so I'm looking forward. I know it's more workload, but I don't care, man. I like putting this content out to you guys, and I like chopping up with you guys and doing sports dialogue, man. So I definitely appreciate you guys rocking with your boy, man. So this week, man, we're going to take a look at the 2025 and the 2026 draft, and look at the direction of the team. What prospects should we be looking at the next two drafts when you look at the current makeup of the young players we have now? And we're gonna look at future moves, man. We're looking at some of these bets. What are the best moves for them, man? At what point should we move on? So a lot of good content coming out this week, man. So definitely, again, much love, guys. I appreciate you guys rocking with your boy as always, man. And we're gonna call it a night. So look, I will see you guys Wednesday night. Hail to the Wizards and peace. See you guys next time.